If you feel like the world flipped upside down since January, you're not wrong. I told you guys last year that 2025 was going to feel very different from 2024 because it is one of the most astrologically loaded years that we've had in decades. This year, we've had multiple outer planets change signs and the nodes shifted. And arguably, America entered into a new chapter of war, psychologically, spiritually, and economically. So let's break it down fast. On January 12th, we had the nodes move into Pisces and also Virgo. And this is hitting the United States 3rd and 9th houses, with the South Node in the 9th house and the North Node in 3rd house. This ended the nodes being in Aries and Libra over the last 1.5 years, which had us collectively focusing on themes of self versus others. Now with this new cycle, it has us getting a focus on how we communicate, how we learn, and how we discern truth from fiction. But Neptune was also in Pisces during that time in January, and so the truth was still at that point buried under layers of propaganda, spiritual fog, and institutional manipulation. We're now being called to release false beliefs that have possibly been imported through foreign interest, academia, and media empires. Now, February 7th, at that time, the North Node was conjunct Neptune. At that point in time, the collective path forward was fused with a bit of illusion, and we saw idealism skyrocket, but then again, so did confusion. This was a setup for what came next. March hit really hard. That was Holy Shift season with the eclipses that we had. A lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th exposed a lot of flaws in our belief systems, and then the solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th. Well, that brought us a new era of willpower, conflict, and courage. Now, it was March 30th when Neptune finally entered Aries, where it now is, and the spiritual fog moved into war and identity, unfortunately. And this is 5th generational warfare that I'm talking about. It looks like it's peace, but it's cyber, it's drone, it's psychological, it's EMFs, it's proxy wars. Allies are not what they seem, and regime change is cloaked in defense. Now, back in April, Saturn was conjunct the North Node, and that was actually on April 21st. It was really a karmic checkpoint for us as a nation, saying, hey, you're either going to grow up spiritually, or you're going to fall deeper into an illusion. During that month, Saturn was also sextile Uranus, so that gave us a rare chance to rebuild. Also, Jupiter sesquiquadrate Pluto gave us some behind-the-scenes manipulation meeting economic power. By May, that is when Saturn entered Aries, where it now is, but Pluto also retrograded that month. It retrograded in Aquarius on May 4th. This is a 20-year influence, and it's just getting started. I talked more about that transit last year, so if you want to go back in my other videos, maybe go back and watch it, and I may even talk more in depth about it in the future, so make sure you're following if you want to know more about that. Yeah, we're not going to quit talking about Pluto and Aquarius anytime soon. But it was on May 24th that Saturn entered Aries, and that ignited a 2 to 3 year karmic lesson about war, boundaries, and government authority. If you recall, this is about when the war drum started pounding, and it was specifically towards Iran. And I made some predictions in May about this, and they shockingly came true. This is about the time when Trump started backtracking on his no more wars promise. And his base during that month, well, some stood very firm with America first. Others, they rationalized putting Israel first. And that is really the month when we started to see the MAGA base begin to fracture. Now, June is the month when Jupiter entered Cancer in the United States natal 7th house. And this is an influence that is going to be impacting us over the next year. It is highlighting families, the homeland, and, partnerships, contracts, but also excess. This is when we started to see more foreign aid, more military contracts, and more disillusionment within the homeland. Despite ICE optics, deportation goals are lower than expected. Meanwhile, we're seeing more H-1B visas that are going to replace American jobs, particularly in tech, and amnesty talk is growing. It's got a lot of us wondering, is this true homeland protection, or is this some Neptunian illusion of safety? Now, July 7th is when Uranus entered Gemini, and the United States natal Uranus return begins. Here is the quiet bombshell as, Uranus enter Gemini, triggering our Uranus return. And as I've been saying in other videos, historically, this has brought us into warfare. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War II. But this time, is it AI warfare? Is it censorship, info wars? Is it currency collapse? Is it weather and biological manipulation? Is it mass labor replacement? The next 8 years of this is going to destabilize in the 6th house, working life, and inevitably partnerships when it gets into that 7th house. And everyday Americans are waking up to this reality that we are in a war, but it's not the kind of war that we were trained to recognize. So what's changed since January? I'd say beliefs are shattered, leaders are exposed, and war, it's already begun in stealth. The base, it seems to be fracturing, and the people, well, they seem to be waking up. And we're only halfway through 2025.